All right, I want to take you back to Southern California and CBS News Los Angeles' live coverage of the devastation caused by deadly wildfires affecting tens of thousands of homes and businesses. Let's watch their coverage.
To the fire departments, thank you guys, because for you guys are we here to see.
Hang in there. Thank you, Javier Vega, the owner of this business for the last 20 years, just realizing that it is unfortunately no more. And let's go ahead and walk around here on Alameda Street if we still have some time, because we had also showed you how these homes were burning not too long ago. It was a few hours when we were here, and we talked a lot about them actively burning, and you can see now that there isn't much left. We did have a fire crew that was here at the time as they were trying to stop that fire from spreading into the homes behind it, and it looks like they did succeed in that. Before then, they just simply move on. And we have started to see some fire crews from neighboring communities that have showed up here. They are just literally seeing flames and putting them out and doing everything that they can to stop this fire from spreading. But I got to tell you, the best news that I'm seeing right now is simply the lack of smoke. I mean, you guys have seen my live shots in previous hours. It is so dark that you can't see anything because the wind would be whipping them around. I'm not seeing those strong winds that we saw a couple of hours ago, and that is the best news for firefighters and for folks here in this community who may in fact still have their homes still standing. And it'll be days before we know the true destruction of this fire. But I mean, every street that we have been on from Lake east in this direction, we have seen at least one fire, one home that has burned, and in many of those streets there's not a home still standing. So certainly a lot of destruction, a lot of devastation, and a lot of loss, and that means that there's going to be a lot of grieving for the things that are no longer still standing. I'll send it back to you guys.
Yeah, enjoy that business owner. What struck me is he said, we've been here before where we've seen fire, but I never thought it would come down here. And I'm taken back to 2009 when we had the station fire, which was in this area, and I remember covering it at the time, and it was always off in the distance. Now, there were homes that burned in the hillsides, but the businesses that were away from the hillsides, the homes that were away from the hillsides, they just evacuated. But they, of course, were able to come back, and everything was still there. And that's what I think makes this fire so unique, is that it has just encompassed areas that have never before seen such destruction. And Amy and I both, our hearts go out to him. And when he apologized to the community, you know, you just feel so bad for him, because we are a community. We all are, right? We're a big city, but at the end of the day, we're a bunch of little communities, and this is just impacting so many of them.
It just is so unprecedented, Joy. We've all been here for a long time covering fires, and we have not seen anything like this.
No, and I think it is what you guys have been talking about. It was the winds. I mean, this fire was, what, a mile and a half away when it started? Look, we're having a flare-up over right here in the back of his business right now, unfortunately, that you can see. But the fire itself started quite a ways a distance, so you don't expect it to reach this far south. This is Lake Avenue. We are not very far from the 210. We are just on the border, basically, of Altadena and Pasadena, not too far away. And you don't expect the fire to move this far down, but like we've been talking about, it didn't make that progressive march, right? It didn't make that where we hit one street and we know it's coming to the next street and then the next street, because we had these almost hurricane strength winds that whipped through this area overnight. And in the process of doing that, it picks up these embers, these burning pieces of wood or debris or whatever they are, and that wind carries them to a rooftop not too far away. And so when that happens, when these embers can go a mile and still be burning, when they land and start smoldering on somebody's rooftop, that's why you see a fire like this spread so quickly at such a distance that we are not used to seeing. There was no method to this madness. It was strictly an act of nature and the winds and where this fire decided to go. So you see streets where you have homes that have burned and homes that are still standing, and it looks more like the destruction from a tornado than it does from a wildfire, where it's usually a little bit more progressive. So it's just been very hard to see so much so quickly.
Yeah. So tough. All right, Joy, stay safe out there. We will be checking back in with you in just a little bit.